Now, Israeli warplanes have targeted Syrian territories for the second time. Loud explosions were reported from Damascus. Israeli warplanes were shooting their rockets from inside the occupied Palestinian territories. Israeli army has claimed that it has hit dozens of Iranian military targets in Syria. As per the Syrian state TV reports, Israeli warplanes targeted Syrian bases in Damascus with rockets in which a radar site and ammunition depot was destroyed. The late-night incident followed a surge in tensions between Israel and Syria. At least 2 military airports are said to have been bombed, and there are reports of power outages in Damascus as Syrian forces repel the rocket attack. The raid reportedly follows an attack on Israeli outposts in Golan Heights. The attack was blamed on Iran-backed forces in Syria. Israel's military has claimed that Iranian forces in Syria had shelled one of its outposts near the border. Israeli army identified approximately 20 rockets that the Iranian Quds forces had launched at the IDF forward posts on Golan Heights. Israeli army spokesperson said that they are not looking to escalate situation when Iran and tensions between Israel and Iran have threatened to spill over in Syria, where the Iranian military is backing Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Meanwhile, defending Israel's actions, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders has said that Israel has sovereign right to defend itself. She also added that Iranian forces' attack on Israeli territories goes on to show that the Iran regime can't be trusted. Now, the White House has also responded to this. We heard White House Secretary Sarah Sanders also talk about it, and she said that Israel has a right to defend itself. Well, the tensions between Israel and Iran are mounting. Just a few days ago, US President Donald Trump had withdrawn the nuclear deal agreement with Iran. Joining me on the program is our senior international correspondent, Daniele Pagani. Daniele joins us from Oman. Good morning, Daniele. This attack goes on to show the fact that Damascus is under attack once again. But when does this stop?
More than Damascus, this is a confrontation which is involving 2 other countries using Syrian territory as a parallel war. So this was an expected attack. The Israeli Defense Forces praised for a possible retaliation of more than 100 airstrikes that they conducted against Iran within Syrian soil. The last attack happened on Tuesday. The last attack Israeli Air Forces conducted against military positions happened on Tuesday. So this is the retaliation, the first retaliation. This is, I would say, the also harshest direct confrontation that Israel and Iran had since the beginning of the Syrian war. We're talking about more than 20 projectiles. It is not clear what kind of ammunition have been used on the Iranian side. Rockets is what is being told to the media community. What kind of rockets, we don't know. As per what the Israeli Defense Forces say, almost all of them have been intercepted by the Iron Dome, which is the missilistic dome covering the entire airspace of Israel, and the ones which were not intercepted fell short and did not reach Israeli positions within the Golan Heights. Israel retaliated and hit several military outposts and ammunition warehouses of where Iranian military personnel were deployed.
And Daniele, is this going to worsen ties between Iran and Israel yet again, or this is a point where it weakens it completely?
I don't think it is possible to worsen these ties further. I think this is the worst moment, one of the worst moments in history when it comes to the relations between Israel and Iran, which has never been a good relation. So I think it's impossible to go to make it worse than how it is. certainly the problem is that it can build up a military tension, which is already pretty high on the border between Syria and Israel. Remember that the Golan Heights, where this attack happened, are a contested area. Israel is occupying 2/3 of what the international community recognizes as Syrian territory. So it will be one of the bone of contentions eventually if a larger military confrontation on Syrian soil between Israel and Iran is taking place. And also these, after Donald Trump deciding to walk away from the Iran deal, definitely does not leave us optimistic here in West Asia.
Absolutely not optimistic at all after that withdrawal from that agreement, But the question we're all asking here is what happens from now on? Are we expecting more military confrontation in that area, or is it done for now?
As per what the Israeli Defense Forces stated, they do not intend to escalate it militarily, talking further. But it's not only for them, it takes two to tango. It depends also on what Israel intends to do, on what Iran intends to do, I beg your pardon. Iran did not take lightly the decision of President Donald Trump to walk away, and did not take lightly the fact that Israel was largely perceived as, I would say, the largest lobbyist behind this decision of President Donald Trump. Also, Iran has been attacked more than 100 times by Israeli forces within Syria, and it is likely to stop suffering it in silence. The fact that President Trump walked away from the Iran deal gives a lot of space for hardliners in Iran who believes it is well timed to hit Israel very hard. So we have this problem. Israel said it doesn't want to escalate tensions further, but they will keep attacking Iran within Syria, and it's really unlikely that Iran will not retaliate anymore. So yes, there is the risk, the concrete risk of military confrontation between Israel and Iran within Syrian territories in a very short span of time.
Right, Daniel, do stay with us. Let's tell our viewers as to why does Russia allow Israel to strike its ally Syria? Now, Israel targeted Syrian bases even as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was in Moscow for the big 3-day celebrations. So this makes it a bit complicated. Russia defends Iran and Syria, but is hosting their bitter enemy Netanyahu, who in turn is bombing Syrian and Iranian assets. Netanyahu flew to Moscow on Wednesday to meet Putin, hours after US President Donald Trump quit the Iranian nuclear deal and after Syria accused Israel of carrying out a fresh missile strike on an army base near Damascus. Since intervening in the Syrian civil war on behalf of President Bashar al-Assad in 2015, Russia has generally turned a blind eye to Israeli attacks on suspected arms transfers, as well as deployments by Assad's Iranian and Lebanese Hezbollah allies. However, Moscow had condemned an earlier airstrike that killed 7 Iranians in Syria on April 9. Here's the Israeli Prime Minister taking aim at Iran from Moscow.
הצגתי את החובה של ישראל ואת הזכות של ישראל להגן על עצמה מפני התוקפנות באיראן, מאיראן, משטחה של סוריה, נגד מדינת ישראל. האיראנים מצהירים שבכוונתם לתקוף אותנו, הם מנסים להעביר לשם כוחות ונשק קטלני, במטרה מפורשת לתקוף את מדינת ישראל, כחלק מהאסטרטגיה שלהם להשמיד את מדינת ישראל.
Bringing our West Asia Bureau Chief again into the conversation. Daniel, we heard Benjamin Netanyahu talk from Moscow while he was there for the big 3-day celebrations. What's your takeaway from this whole intervention and when it comes to Benjamin Netanyahu?
So regarding the presence of him in Russia and how Russia also accept the fact that Israel attacks Iran, despite Russia being allied in Iran in this moment, militarily speaking, in Syria. Remember that Israel has been conducting more than 100 airstrikes on Syrian soil, and there is a normal deconfliction communication. This is how it is called. It means that Israel informs the Russian army each and every time it is conducting an airstrike against Iranian positions in Israel. So it has been years that Russia knows perfectly what Israel is doing, and it's allowing it, not considering it its own problem when it comes to Syria. As a matter of fact, Vladimir Putin might be the only person as of now who could be between Israel, position himself between Israel and Iran, enjoying almost good relations with both the countries in order to try to avoid the escalation. He said very clearly, Vladimir Putin, after this recent attack of tonight, he said very clearly that the situation is acute. This is the word that he used. And so the fact that Russia is also worried gives us another proof, another evidence that escalation has to be expected.
Right. Thank you there, Daniel, West Asia Bureau Chief, joining us from Oman.